Hey viewers, my name's Cara. I'm your host for Tuesdays here on the Pagan Perspective, and this week we are talking about religious registries, and I am doing a direct upload because I am on my way out the door to a meeting before rehearsal, so I'm going to swing by the library and upload this. No editing. I know that the lighting is a bit weird because I have all the natural light from there, so my frame check just told me that this side of my face is in shadow, so here it is. We're going to look at it now. You might not see it for the rest of the video. Okay, the topic full text is in the description of this video as usual. When I first read this topic when it came in months ago, I thought like, oh damn, this is real life. This is the hard-hitting stuff that we need to talk about. No, I really think that this is a very intriguing question and a very timely question, and obviously it's political and can be very serious as well. But I just thought this is such a cool thing not a cool thing, but this is a good thing to think about. I think that there's a lot involved in coming up with an answer to this question. So I was really excited to talk about it, not because it's an exciting thing to think about, but because it's such a real thing. And I like getting really deep with something very important every once in a while. So the question is talking about, the things that Donald Trump has been saying about potentially having Muslims register their religion so that we know who the Muslims are. And this questioner got into a conversation about this with some people, and the conversation got to the point where they were saying, this is how it starts. First we have Muslims register their religion, and then everybody who's not a Christian has to register their religion, and then everybody's religion is on a registry. And if that were to happen in some kind of dystopian future, or heck, I don't know, in the actual future, we don't know what's going on. The world is a dystopian novel at this point. If that were to happen, what do we think about that? And for our personal selves, if this were to happen, would this be something that we personally would fight against? Would we give in and just register? And if we had to register, would we lie and say that we were a member of a different religion? Maybe that would get less persecution in the future. Even if we are not currently experiencing it, would we lie to potentially save ourselves from persecution that may arise in the future? That whole, right now, this group is the target, but you don't say anything because it's not you. And then the next time when it's somebody else, you don't say anything because it's not you, until eventually you are the one being targeted and no one is there to stand up for you. So what do we think about that? And like I said, whoa, like real life. So first of all, my initial thought is that I wouldn't lie about it if I had to register my religion. And this sort of comes back around to some other related topics, such as people being able to register in the military, saying that they are Wiccan or another type of pagan, and how they are treated at that point. I have a lot of friends who are pagans in the military. By a lot, I mean a handful at least, which I consider a lot compared to all the other people in the military I know who are not. And all the pagans that I know, I feel like a decent little chunk of them are military or have been military. And I've heard from people online as well, those of you who are pagans in the military, I've heard varying stories. Some people were able to register as a Wiccan in the military, and they were treated so nicely, and they were given a little travel set of altar tools that were approved that they could bring with them or whatever, and they're, given time and space for their celebrations of their holidays and whatever. And then I've also had the horror story where someone registered as a pagan in the military, and they were the only one in their group, and no one else really accepted that, and they were given a hard time about it, and there was nothing really special done for them. It was just like, yeah, okay, cool, whatever. So there's varying stories. So I think that kind of relates to that in a way. But also thinking about just that I wouldn't lie about it because I don't lie about things like that, and that I'm open about it, so it wouldn't be a big deal. The other thing that it reminds me of, again, because this is unedited, I just have to keep talking no matter what. The other thing it makes me think of is the difficulty of getting a census of pagans, because there are so many people who are worried about persecution or who don't know that their path qualifies as pagan. There are a lot of people who would fall under the really broad definitions of what we consider pagan who don't consider themselves pagan. So there might be a lot of people who could be considered one thing but would be forced to register as something else because the choices aren't broad enough. And there's also, when we try to get a census, not everybody is willing to say, yes, I'm a pagan. So we extrapolate and we estimate that there are more than the people who are actually willing to say so, because not everyone knows how to identify, not everyone is ready to identify, whatever. I would not lie about it. That's the first thing. The part about whether I would fight it or whether I would give into it totally depends on the situation in the future, in the hypothetical future, in which this would happen, right? So obviously, I wouldn't lie about it if I had to. That part is done. I would not pretend to be a member of another religion. But whether I would fight it or give into it, I think I would fight it, because what I've been thinking over the past couple days thinking about this is like, well, for me personally, it doesn't matter so much to me. So if it were just me, I'd be like, okay, whatever, I don't care. You want me to register sure, I'll register my religion. I don't care. I'm not going to lie about it. But the reality is that it's not just me, and we are part of a larger community. So what I've been thinking the past couple of days is, what would that mean for everyone else? What would that mean for the people who are unsure about their path, for the people who are in the closet, who are not ready to admit to their path? To me, forcing people to register in any way is like forcing everyone to come out at the same time. And I've just been having a conversation with someone privately about this, about how I do not believe that forcing people to come out as pagan or as LGBTQ+, whatever it is, I don't believe that forcing people to do that is right. I believe in waiting for people to come to their own realization of when it's their time to do it, their comfort level. And I agree with being encouraging and with being open about the fact that I'm fairly open, but I do still, I don't broadcast it as soon as I meet someone. You kind of feel it out. That doesn't mean you're lying about it, doesn't mean you're hiding it, because if they were to ask me, I would be honest. But there are things that we do in our regular lives. So I have to think about the fact that a registry of this kind would be like forcing everyone to come out at the same time. And I don't agree with that, because I don't think that everyone is ready to do that, and nobody should have to do that. So I would fight it for that reason, and just the fact that even if I wouldn't care if people know, and I would be choosing to take whatever consequences may stem from that, and I would always fight for this community, and that's what I do on a daily basis. When little stupid stuff comes up, I do feel like I'm defending everyone, even the people whose views I don't entirely agree with, because we're part of this community together. But I have to think about the fact that that's what would be happening, basically. So I would fight it overall, because I know that not everyone else would be entirely comfortable with registering as a specific religion even. There are a lot of people who are like, well, I'm kind of this, I'm kind of this. They may or may not consider themselves part of the pagan community, but they might not know what to call it. They might not know what to say. There's all these blended paths now. There are people who identify as Christians who are also, Christian spiritualists or Christian pagans. I didn't watch Rich's video before this. I probably should have. That would be I'm going to watch Rich's video after I do this because he has a very unique perspective in that way. But yeah, blended paths are a big thing. And so that's a whole other kind of issue for them to deal with. So, yes. Okay. That's my answer. I wouldn't lie about it. I would do it if I had to do it. But I would fight the overall systemic registry thing, because I don't believe that it's good for everyone overall. I think everyone should be able to be open about it if they want to be, and that's the thing, is that It's about when you're ready. It's about when you want to be open. It's about when you want to tell people something about yourself, and it's ultimately about choice. And I am a proponent of choice. So that's what it comes down to for me, is thinking of it in those terms. If not everyone would choose to say, yes, hello, please include me on that list, I am pagan, whatever, like I might, I would defend that. I would defend your right not to tell people that. And, yeah, I defend that right every day, all day. So that's it. This is a really, really interesting question. Thank you so much for posing it. And I feel like there are probably all these other little nuances that we could talk about. Well, what if this happened, and what if that happened, and what would you do in those situations? And that would be really fun to theorize about. And even if it's the horrible stuff, like what if this horrible future nightmare happened? I still think it would be a good exercise to think about what would we do in those situations, and really ask ourselves, like, what is important to us, and how does that inform these answers? So I know that there's probably a lot more that we could get into with that, but as far as this video goes, what it comes down to, those are my main answers to this. So yeah, I'd stick up for you guys as much as I could. Thanks very much for watching. I will see you next time, and until then, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.